Hey guys, what's up? Arbeck, and today I'm going to be showing you guys what is a prime example of not to do on the internet, what you should not be doing on, say, like Reddit or TikTok or whatever. You just don't do this and you'll be fine, okay? So, there is a person that I'm not trying to single out anybody, but it's just a prime example of what I want to talk about today. On this subreddit on Reddit called r slash Lucario. Lucario is a Pokemon, and he has his own subreddit. Relatively low count for the amount of Google searches, in my opinion, that the Pokemon gets. But whatever. It's a small subreddit that mainly posts fan art of Lucario or asking questions or memes or asking questions about what he is, like what how to evolve him in the game, or maybe memes about him in a game, whatever. That sort of thing. That's mainly what is posted here. Now, there's a certain individual on this subreddit that I want to be not this specific subreddit again, but that I just want to talk about, and listeners don't want to be like. And this person is called Android Fan 2008. Now, I don't want anyone to go out and harass this guy. He does not deserve to be harassed. Nobody. He just You just shouldn't go and out and harass this person. Just don't. That would be uncool. That's super duper lame. That is the very bottom of the scummy list. You just don't want to do this. Now, he lists in his bio like photography, filming, tech, whatever. Favorite, and you're into video games. Your favorite Pokemon is Lucario. That's why he's on the subreddit. Now, a little bit more backstory on Android Kid is he is, I think he ranted about this in one of his posts, but he's 12 years old and has autism. Now, regardless of how old you are, and regardless of how mature and if you have a disability or not, the things that he is doing here, you can't really fall back on age or disability, in my opinion, because he's been on Reddit for a year. Okay, he knows what, he's not new to the internet. In fact, since he has autism, he's probably spent most of his time on the internet. Sharing this, like, I, why? That's a very personal, I feel like, thing that happened. I don't know why you're sharing it with that seems kind of a little bit weird. These are just very minor things, right? These aren't really too crazy. I wouldn't make a whole video if this is the only thing that he was doing, right? So, digitizing my Lucario drawings, which is basically what he does before he puts it on Reddit. He'll draw something, and then he'll digitize it, and then he'll post it on Reddit and Discord, as he says in here. Now, I'm going to just show you real quick what he posts on Reddit, okay? This is his drawing. Now, if I want to give you guys any tips on drawing, it's to simply, okay, pretty much everything happening here can simply be fixed by getting a reference, or the main problem here is the line quality. And proportions as well. Like, this arm is way fatter than this one, and the main problem here is line quality, right? So maybe what you want to do is get a reference of Lucario. It makes it easier to draw, and it makes it easier to draw the character. Your line quality will increase, your style will adapt to the reference that you're using, and maybe not make one big line. Maybe chicken scratch. If you don't know what chicken scratching is, it's a bunch of short lines. It's mainly used for sketches like this one. This is a sketch, right? It's just line. It's just a sketch. So maybe chicken scratch a little bit. It makes lines easier to kind of do the thing you want them to do and not make them look bad, right?
signature's on point though, but it's just, look at, like, for example, look at this line. It goes whoop whoop. You know, you don't want lines to do all this stuff, and you don't want lines to kind of bend in, bend out, and then why is this hand so big and this one so small? You want to get the proportions down, and this, I can tell he's a new, like he said, he's in 12th grade or whatever, but I can tell you're a new artist. I would not recommend if you're a new artist, I wouldn't recommend posting things like this to like I said, public image board website. If you have the confidence to, then I applaud you for having the confidence to try to post this, because if I would recommend doing anything, I recommend, if your goal is to get better at drawing art, which it should be for this, right? Then I recommend, if you're starting out as an artist, don't post stuff on social media right away. I'd recommend posting them onto Discords or more closed communities that will be a lot more helpful on maybe giving you constructive criticism than, say, Reddit or TikTok or Twitter or Instagram. Because those are a lot more open, and Twitter and TikTok, I don't really need to explain why it's a bad idea, because you guys know the type of people that are on TikTok and Twitter. But this guy calls out that it's a shit drawing, right? It's whatever. He comes back with this. He posts this on r/comebacks. First of all, it doesn't even show the art in the first place. Second off, this is a terrible comeback. It's absolutely garbage. It's terrible. Not a good comeback whatsoever. And the comments agree that it's a bad comeback, and that I'm just confused on, again, if you are a starting artist, and please be ready to, first off, if somebody's criticizing your art, like giving genuine, like, oh, your line quality isn't really good, maybe try helping that. They're not insulting you. This is more insulty. I wouldn't even really respond to this at all. First off, you shouldn't even really be posting it in the first place, at least to TikTok. And second off, I wouldn't even really respond to this, especially the way that he did. That's just not a good way to respond to it. Especially he's been on Reddit for a year. He knows it's just not a good thing to do. You just don't do that. And then I still can't really go through his mind and think, oh, I'm going to post my very, not, like, objectively speaking, the art is just not good, right? It's not really the best. So I'm going to go post my very beginner art that isn't really that good to TikTok, and somebody insults me for it. I'm going to go, and then he responds to this like, oh, this is such a good comeback. I'm going to post an r/comeback. Screw this guy. He's being mean. Right, guys? No, he's not being mean. He's just stating his true opinion on your art. Like, the art that I draw isn't good either, right? It's not. I give my art just like a 5 out of 10. It's kind of average, but it's whatever, right? And so then we have one of his comics here. Now, this is this is the highlight of the video. First off, and he's saying this comic, okay. That phone, again, I don't, this art, like, I'm assuming he's doing this in art class, because, like, well, the way that our school system works is we have, like, a middle school, and then we have high school, and then we have elementary, and all the way from elementary to high school, we have, art class, which you, I think, like, once or twice a week, right? And we get to draw things, and then our art teacher gives us criticism on it, constructive criticism on it, gives us a grade, and that's it, right? So I'm assuming you drew this in art class, right? So I don't see any point of posting this to a subreddit at all. It's just, again, it doesn't, not specifically this guy, but anyone. If you're beginning at art, or you're just starting out at art, and that's your passion that you want to you're very passionate about it, don't go and post things like this on public places, because it opens it up to a lot more people, and that people that are part of the community that you're in will get stigmatized sometimes for things like this, or even that, but people will insult you, and you can't, when you do that, when you post stuff like this to public social media and people insult you, you can't act like they're mean and they're stupid, because, like, what were you expecting, right? If you post things like this, I don't know what you're expecting, right? I don't know what kind of response you're expecting from this. So basically what this is too is it's just kind of a vent in a comic form, so I'm just going to go read this out for you. So basically the premise is he finds something on r/Lucario and says he's not a furry, which by definition you are 100% incorrect in this statement. I'm just going to Google. This is definition right here. Textbook definition. So I'm just Googling this. It's a furry character is anthropomorphized animals, right? That's whatever. And if you guys don't know what anthropomorphic means, it is basically an animal with character-like traits. And if you look up a picture of Lucario, I mean, to me, this looks anthropomorphic, doesn't it? You got the dog-like legs standing on 2 feet, tail, ears like I'd say, objectively speaking, it's a anthropomorphic character. Therefore, technically speaking, then this is wrong. You're just wrong here, and it's not wrong for people to think this either. There's nothing wrong with it. And make a character be considered furry, it's just anthropomorphic. If something's anthropomorphic, you can call it a furry character, right? But if I just like one specific anthropomorphic character and nothing else, it does not make me a furry. A furry is more of a general term, meaning you basically, you're obsessed with just the anthropomorphic thing in general, not just one specific character, right? But what'll happen is they'll say Lucario, which is anthropomorphic, which then opens them up to the furry community. This is kind of more of a gateway, I'd say, to it. And I don't know where he got this from at all. And I don't know how you can specify I haven't heard anyone say this. I haven't. And I've been on the Lucario subreddit for a couple months, actually. Nobody's said this. Nobody says this. No one. No one on r/Lucario says, "Oh, Lucario's horny." Nobody says that. Nobody says that. This is r/Lucario, not some NSFW subreddit. Nobody's posted any not safe for work content on r/Lucario. I don't know what this guy is thinking at all. If you're gonna post that shit, mark it as NSFW or post it elsewhere. Again, nobody's posted NSFW. I haven't seen any. I've been on the subreddit, I think, longer than he has. He's been on Reddit for a year. I don't know how long he's been on r/Lucario, but I've scrolled past just like the front page. I've scrolled through r/Lucario for a long time, and I haven't seen any not safe for work content at all. And then he's talking about, admins enforce your rules against these cretins of the subreddit who are posting NSFW. It's nobody's posting anything. And then he's getting called out on denials for first step to being a fur. It's funny. Kind of getting clowned on a little bit here. Lucario's the #1 Pokemon E621. If you don't know what this is, I'd say Google it, but like don't. Just Google it. Google a definition and don't okay, Google a definition and you'll be fine, okay? Just Google the definition if you don't know what this is. Number one Pokemon E621 and what the F do you have against furries? Like this is I agree with this a lot cuz he's saying it like Lucario being a furry is a bad thing when like objectively speaking, there's nothing wrong with Lucario being a furry-like character. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It doesn't mean anything. So, for him to go and post something like this and say it like that is implying it that he has something against furries. And what do you have against furries? Like, that's a very good point. Even people that aren't part of the fandom or are part of the fandom, you shouldn't have anything against it at all. Especially when you're on a subreddit that is a fan of an anthropomorphic character, you should expect, I'd say, a majority of the people on here to be part of the furry fandom. So when you go on here and you say stuff like this is just thumbnail material right here. Hold on. So when you say things like this, I effing hate people calling Lucario one. Nobody calls Lucario a furry. They call people that like Lucario a furry. They call Lucario anthropomorphic, which then makes him a furry-like character, by definition. So, I don't know what the reason of getting mad at this is. And you're one of those Lucario fans who is sensitive to it. What do you mean you're sensitive to it? You're sensitive to definitions. You're sensitive to just defying, and you're sensitive to anthropomorphic stuff. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to be sensitive about it. What are you sensitive about? What? Is that a good enough reason? Now I can stop getting notifications about this BS. You're stating something that is wrong, and you're going against the community that you're technically a part of. And that's why people are disagreeing with you, because, like I said, objectively speaking, you are wrong. This is just a wrong statement. You are just wrong. Factually wrong. And then to just do this is probably the worst response possible. No, just because you aren't into the furry fandom, and there's a very small percentage that sexualize it, which is very true, just because you aren't a fan of something doesn't mean you have to ruin it for others. I came here looking for cool Lucario shit. Keep your political agenda out of the subreddit, which is... I'm the same. I came here for looking for cool Lucario shit. There's some very cool fan art here that I don't really find pretty much anywhere else. This is a very good source of it, right? So I come here for it. I think that's what 99% of people that come to the subreddit do. They come here looking for a cool Lucario fan art. That's the main thing, right? That's what 99% of people here do, and that's what I've only seen happen here. I'm here mainly to look at Lucario stuff and post my Lucario drawings, which, again, I just disagree. You just shouldn't be doing this. It's just not a good idea. It's just not a good idea to be posting this type of art on this subreddit. It's not a good idea. I don't want to see this BS on my notifications all the effing time. And FYI, the sexual stuff is exactly why I don't like furries. This is kind of where I draw the line here, because the sexual stuff is why you don't like furries, but yet you're also being very, very hypocritical, considering you're posting about, bro, do you guys like cuddling Lucario? And then you're like, bro, sexual stuff is why I don't like it. Well, you're a part of it. You're part of the problem. So, if you're doing that, then why do you go and say sexual stuff is why I don't like it, when you're doing the same thing that you say you don't like doing? And that's why you don't like furries, but not all. That's not what furries are. That's not what they do. That's not what they like. It's just not part of it. And he even stated it's a very small percentage. It's a very small percentage. And despite that, you say it's why you don't like furries. But it's not a good reason why it's like 2% of the fandom do that. And yet you're going to like the other 98% of it. And that's why. That's extremely just no other way to put it, just stupid. I'm sorry a small percent of the furries get all the attention. It's a pretty wholesome community that I've finally found a place to fit in with. But you do you, I won't judge. And then he makes a point countering this, but then he kind of just moves it to a whole entire different part. And then says, finally, something we agreed on. This guy just doesn't, it's just plain, no other way to put it, just stupid. Like, you go and you say, oh, I don't like the sexual shit, but then you say, oh, I like to cuddle with the car. You go and you say that, and then you say, I don't. And then you say the only reason why I don't like furries is because of sexual stuff. But then but again, it's it's a very extremely small percent. And despite that, Lucario should never have anything to do anything. He shouldn't, which is very true. And then finally, something we agree on. I encountered someone in the comment section once asking you if I would. I actually went to the post. I couldn't find. He didn't link the post he was talking about, which is very suspicious. But I found it, and he said he's the guy who asked it said it was a joke. He said he was joking. It was a joke. So your argument again is kind of blasted because it was a joke. He wasn't being serious. And he said, "Yep." And on the first post I did on the subreddit, you may have seen it. It was a pic of my computer desktop with the Lucario wallpaper and caption instead of how much a Lucario fan it was. Lucario's furry is frick, what do you mean? And that's true. He's an anthropomorphic character. By definition, he is a furry. So I don't understand why he is saying stuff like this. And this guy says, what is wrong? What is wrong with Lucario being a furry character? Again, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with anyone or anything being furry-esque. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And people need to get this BS stigma out of the way because it's a small percent of people that are like that. And if you look at any fandom or any community and you only look at the small percent that does the dumb stuff, you're going to come out of every single community thinking they're all horrible, stupid, dumb people that just need to get mental help. Then again, it's only a small percent of the community, though. And that's why there's nothing wrong about it. But then people saying that Lucario is a furry is just infuriating. He ain't no freaking furry. He's just Lucario, and that's the over be an awesome Lucario. Lucario is Lucario's, again, I sound like a broken record. Lucario's anthropomorphic, therefore making him a furry character. So again, you're just wrong. Straight up. Just going to inform you, Lucario is an anthropomorphic dog, and that's what makes him a furry-like character. Same, bud. And then somebody's making a point here. Lucario's what made him a furry, though. Like I was saying, anthropomorphic opens the gateway to the furry fandom. And then he's just copy-pasting here, which is kind of stupid. And this guy is defending the sexual things, which I just think that he shouldn't really have anything to do with it, but it's the internet, it's whatever. I'm not really going to fight it. You can't really do anything. And this guy's saying, how dare people draw what they want? Anger. You sound like an angry kid who follows the belief of furries bad. Hate to burst your childhood safety bubble. Most of us are furries grow up. Me and most likely most of the people on the subreddit don't come here to deal with this. What? Don't come here to deal with this BS. So shut the F up. No, I won't shut the F up. You're clearly barely a teenager and act like a 6-year-old. Furries exist to get over it. Which is true. He is 12. And it's clearly showing. And this is exactly why people, like, if you're young and you're like kind of under, I'd say under 13 is a good baseline. I think that's what Discord has. If you're under 13, you really shouldn't be posting on social media sites. You shouldn't be posting on, like, you can go scroll through them or whatever, but I don't recommend posting things, because then stuff like this will happen, okay? Stuff like this will happen to you eventually, and you're gonna be in some shit that you can't get out of, okay? It's just not good. And you're gonna do dumb stuff like copy paste as a response, which again is a very bad, terrible thing to do. And this isn't there's nothing BS about this. You're just getting mad at the facts. You're just getting mad that Lucario is an anthropomorphic animal, and you're in denial that there is a furry community and there's nothing wrong with it. I just really don't understand why, though. Like, do you have stupid? There are, yeah, again, he's copy pasting. He's getting whooshed. He got whooshed. This joke went right over his head. He got whooshed. That just sums up this guy perfectly. Whoosh. He's in denial about this, and he's getting mad at people for being part of the furry fandom, which is very stupid. If anything, it's ironic because he's not self-aware at all. He's saying, "Oh, the server has other ways to deal with you. Take your BS to another server." When you're the one that's doing the BS in the first place, you're a beginner artist. Your art isn't good. I'm not trying to be mean. I just stating how I feel about it, right? Like, if one of my friends showed up to me and they asked to give my genuine opinion on it, I'd say, first off, I'd point out, I would give constructive criticism, like, it's a stick figure. I get it's a comic, but, like, a little bit more effort on the stick figure thing. And his torso is kind of, his body's kind of going into his pants a little bit there. It's kind of weird. Just give maybe overall advice to help him get better. Right? That's what I would do. I mean, not everybody's like that, but if somebody pull up to me in real life and give me this, that's what I would do. But I don't recommend anyone to post this stuff on, unless your goal, unless you put, like, something up here saying, I don't know, like, beginner artist, you criticize, give me constructive criticism, please, trying to improve, then yes, please do. But there are separate communities and subreddits dedicated to beginner artists and helping them. So to post it to r/Lucario, a subreddit that is mainly consistent of decent or above Lucario fan art, and then to post this on it, is you're just lacking awareness and you've been on the internet for a year plus, so I feel like you should definitely have the capacity to make better decisions and don't act like an idiot in the comment section. But that's going to sum up the video, guys. More of the story is, check yourself before you wreck yourself. I'm Ara, and I'm sorry for the late upload. Sorry it's like a week late. I just didn't have any ideas whatsoever, and then I saw this started happening on Reddit, so I'm like, I need to cover this. But have a good week. Signing out.